The year is 395 AD. Rome stands as the greatest empire in the Western world. Its cities are rich, its armies are feared, and its people believe Rome will last forever. At its height, the Roman Empire stretched across vast lands, connecting millions of people under one rule. Its influence did not stop on land. Roman fleets controlled the Mediterranean Sea, securing trade and power across the ancient world. For many citizens, life in Rome was stable and filled with opportunity. Public bathhouses offered relaxation. Entertainment brought citizens together, reinforcing Rome's identity and culture. Education and order helped shape the Roman world for generations. At the heart of Rome's strength stood its legions, disciplined soldiers who protected the empire for centuries, trained, loyal, and feared across the ancient world. At the top of all this power stood one man, the Emperor Theodosius I, a man who commanded one of the greatest empires in history. In 395, at the age of 48, Theodosius took his last breath. His death would mark the beginning of the end. After the death of Theodosius, his two sons inherited the empire. Arcadius ruled the east. Honorius, only 10 years old, ruled the west. What had once been one empire was now divided into two. Although they shared a legacy, their rule would take Rome down very different paths. Rome still stands, but something feels wrong. In the west, the young Honorius now faced the enormous responsibility of ruling an empire. Too young to rule alone, Honorius relied heavily on the generals and advisors around him, especially on one man, General Stilicho. From 395 to 400, he kept Rome stable on the surface, but problems were building underneath. Trade slowed, and the signs of strain were beginning to show. Rome still had soldiers, but not enough to defend everything it once controlled. Beyond the borders, pressure was beginning to grow. The experienced General Stilicho held the Western army together. Not every battle was fought with swords. Sometimes Rome survived through negotiation. While Honorius ruled in name, Stilicho ruled in strength. And in 402, finally came the first warning. An army, the Visigoths, now marching into Roman territory, led by the Visigoth king, Alaric I. The first true test of the Western Empire had arrived. Waiting for them stood the empire's greatest general. He understood the danger, but he also believed Rome could still endure. Rome stood ready, and so did its enemies. At the Battle of Pollentia, Rome had held the line, and Alaric and the Visigoths retreated. After the invasion, the capital of the West was moved from Milan to the safer city of Ravenna. For a few years, the northern border remained quiet. And then came the winter of 406. thousands of different barbarians were crossing through the frozen Rhine. The empire was now facing migrations. Small towns in the region of Gaul were being attacked. The empire struggled and was simply too large to defend everywhere. So sometimes it negotiated, and slowly but surely, they turned the emperor against his greatest general. Rome's greatest general did not die on the battlefield, but by the orders of his own emperor. With Stilicho gone, Alaric smelled blood and marched with his men towards the Roman Empire. For the first time in centuries, the city of Rome was sacked and was no longer invincible. But this was just the beginning. After a few years, Rome lost North Africa to the Vandals, and without Africa, Rome lost its food supply and wealth. From the east, Attila the Hun and his army stormed at the empire. For one last time, with help of temporary allies, Rome had held the line. A few years later, the emperor was assassinated. The new emperor broke a crucial agreement, and because of this, the Vandals looted the entire city of Rome. Then, in a final attempt to recover Africa, Rome failed. Inside the empire, Romans turned on each other. Civil wars followed. Leadership fractured. And by now, Rome had already fallen. By 476, the young Romulus Augustulus was deposed by the Germanic king Odoacer. The Western Roman Empire has now turned into different kingdoms. In the east, the empire still stood, and the Romans lived on. The Western Roman Empire did not disappear overnight. It was a combination of political instability, economic collapse, and external invasions. And although it collapsed, its legacy would shape the world for centuries.